Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, happy to be here, and today we're going to speak about what transforms us towards well-being. If any one of you is asked what the well-being means to you, you certainly know the answer. Those answers might be different, but every human being knows what the well-being means for him or for her. And what means transformation? We're going to speak about that as well. So if you would like to have a picture of what the transformation looks like, it's just like this, infinity sign with an arrow on it. And if we would like to discuss an example, what's the difference between a behavior change that people would like to achieve on a daily basis? People would like to change something in themselves, something in the things around them. And then this is an example of the weight management. So people try sometimes diet to reduce their weight. And then they stop the diet and the weight goes up. And they try another diet and the weight goes down. And it continues up and down, just like in this picture. What is different in the transformation, and I will give an example from the animal world, is like this. So first you had one kind of shape, and then you transform into the other, and there is no way back. And whenever we will speak about the transformation, that's exactly what I mean. We have a point in today, we have a direction, an arrow pointing to the place where we would like to be, and we see it. We might not always get there, because whenever we speak about behavior change, we put a limitation. If you say, I would like to stop doing something for a month, which means you will be liberated after the month. For the transformation, it doesn't work. Transformation means there is an end goal, and you have a direction towards it. So, why it's important? These are the three nice circles having three nice colors. We've seen that on the streets. Let me explain. The green circle contains the people that have transformed, or they have achieved what they wanted. That they have a strong willpower or have the motivation to do that. The red circle means the people who don't want to change anything in their lives or in a specific behavior. They just are happy as they are, and they will continue doing their behaviors, whether those are good, whether they contribute to their well-being or not. They will stick with that, and nothing's going to work for them. You might have some friends and relatives who are that kind of people. And the yellow circle, as you can see, it's labeled January 1st. Why I hear this subtle laugh in the audience? Why do you think it's called January 1st? Just shout the answers. New Year's resolutions. How many of you have had at least one New Year's resolution in your life? Awesome majority. How many of you have had at least the same New Year's resolution at least for several years? And now the best moment. How many of you have achieved success in any of your New Year's resolution? And now these people deserve a round of applause. Great job. You who have achieved the transformation, you are the green circle, and I'll explain later why you are so important. Let's move on, because when the green circle is exposed to the other people, just like we did in this room. So if somebody thinks that people never change, and there's nobody that has changed, we saw these hands that they have achieved success. So this is the source of inspiration, and if we show the green people to the yellow people get the motivation to do something. So, and the major question is, what transforms us? And now we are in this business forum. So business, for many people, means different things, but the majority would say business is about making money. So that's quite a traditional answer. And now to have a clear picture, and I would like to give you my perspective. What is money? So is this illustrative cheese money? How many of you believe that's a money? Some of you think it's a money. How about this? Is fish a money? Approximately the same number of people. We know that if we look back into the history, money appeared as a means of exchange. So we don't need to carry with us our fish, or our cheese, or our meat, or our butter. Many people and many businessmen, whatever stage they are, tend to forget that. Money is just a resource of exchange. And if we look closer to the evolution of the money, we can see that there is barter as a first form that we just looked at. There are different kind of other forms, and today the money have gone through the coins and through the paper bills, and they get into the credit cards, and now it's even digital. So what we have seen is from the visible sources of money or exchange form, they tend to become more invisible. So just to illustrate these two endpoints, barter, very visible, and quite invisible digital money. Now, if we'll take this perspective and apply to a city, and this is another kind of illustration of a city that you might recall. That's the city where I live right now. Can you see money in this picture? Honestly speaking, it's made out of money. There's an artist in the world that creates pictures out of the pieces of the cut money bills. Now, I will show you another illustration what have done with a city environment using novel technologies. In this case, that's the same structure we saw in the previous picture, but now you see these numbers rotating on it. So the structure that has been built more than 100 years ago today can become technologically advanced and used for the communication. It can become a communication channel. And we can use it to transform. We can transform how people behave in a city. We can transform how people think about, for example, sorting garbage, or riding a bike, or any kind of other behaviors related to our well-being. When we look at this illustration of a city, it's a nice picture. It has all the nice engineered items on it. We have windmills, we have solar panels, we have cogeneration stations. They're all engineered in so different ways. Mechanical engineered, electrically engineered, there's software engineering and so forth. But the talk that I'm gonna speak about today is about a component that we don't see on this picture. Can you tell what is missing on this picture? People. It's great that people are not missing in this audience. I can see that the picture is missing them. And this is the area where I put my work the hardest in, to work on a social engineering. Can we wrap the engineered things into the wrap of how enable human beings to interact with these new novel technologies in a way that is contributing to their well-being? Let me give you an example from a German-speaking capital in Europe, which is not in Germany. Which one it is? Vienna. Great. They built an infrastructure for bikes. They built bike lanes, they built bike racks, and different kind of other things within the 4 years. What they expected is that similarly, there would be an increase in the bike ridership, which is a great thing that people who care about their well-being, they do more exercise. In fact, they didn't achieve exactly what they expected. As you see in this picture, there's a city in the yellow which built the infrastructure to enable more biking, and there's this behavior in the green that they expected to happen. Unfortunately, this picture has another crucial element, which is what people think. And that's something that you cannot see. You can see the bike lane, and you can see the biker riding on it, which is behavior. But what you don't see is what people think about it. Some people think it's dangerous, some people think it's uncomfortable, and this is what stops people from transformation. This is a very general example. It can be applied to any of your New Year's resolutions. And then what's other thing is not always the attitudes are positive. So even when the infrastructure is in place, and this is a real example from a couple of weeks back from Paris, people do many different kind of positive and also negative behaviors. Now an example from business. What do you think is in this box? TV. Are there any other options? What could be in this box? Bicycle. Correct. Is correct answer. Now, let me tell you the story. So the bike producer produces nice bikes and ships them to the customers. 30% of the bikes arrive damaged. Why? A human factor. So the people handling the boxes say, oh, that's the bike. That's a piece of metal. Poof. And 30% lost to the business. They were very creative. They changed the label and they put the TV screen. Now, relying on our instincts, those people handling the boxes are not really using their full cognitive power to really read what's in it. They see the TV, oh, let's handle it with care. Business saved 25% out of the 30. So they crucially improved their performance just by relabeling the package of it. And this is how we see the city. The city can be repackaged in a way that citizens, residents, also tourists and visitors can be influenced by novel technology-driven designs in our city environments. This is an example that we worked at the MIT Media Lab. That's a tricycle. It's electronic. It can ride itself. You can ride on it. And when you ride on it, you can use pedals or you can use electric assist. Which is better for you? Which is better for well-being or the environmental? For those who can pedal, it might be a better option, right? And therefore is this right below corner where your pedaling is projected back on your ridership. So the more you pedal, the more it's green, and the less you pedal, it's red. So feedback on your own data, and you can compare with other riders. Someone remembers this beautiful rainy day and this beautiful city where we are right now. In this picture you see Riga, and that was a campaign where people on the bikes with these bamboo frames around them, they tried to attract the attention how much space takes one person riding in a car. Great campaign. I think it was 4 years ago. Good media coverage. Rarely people remember that. And this is an example where I would like to put your attention, that instead of doing this, we have technology that we can deploy that can work 24 hours every day, just like here. You see a screen that is put next to the street that shows the speed of the bikes and speed of the cars. And even if you don't see any bike on this picture, the screen tells you they were going faster than the cars. This is another example how we can leverage the data-driven feedback mechanisms. This is based on social influence to help people to transform. So somebody might think, oh, there is nobody on the bike on the street because I don't see it. Now technology tells, here they are. And we have these technologies here in Riga. This is not in Riga, this is in Latvia. But these kind of bike counters and all those technologies, they're available. The question is why we don't use them more often for our own well-being and to improve our daily lives. This is another example from UK. So this is computer vision that speaks to the gray hatchback and takes hello, how are you? So we can use those kind of technologies, and they are already working. Another study that we did, and here we see the Charles River, which is dividing Boston and Cambridge in Massachusetts. And we thought about how about engaging people to pedal more so they can compete where the city will place the infrastructure for them. So the more you pedal, the more you vote for the infrastructure to come to your region. Then, before implementing, we thought, okay, let's do a pilot with the companies. Real companies, real employees commuting to the work and back every day. We looked at those employees that commute by bike, and we structured them in these simple rankings. And now you imagine, you come to work, and for example, you come with a car, and you see the screen in your office, and you suddenly realize, oh, there are colleagues that ride bike. I never knew that anybody rides it. And then you realize, oh, my company, and if you look at the top of this ranking, Fast Cap Systems, and there is this another MIT research group ahead of us. And they remember, I have a bike in my basement. I ride a bike during the weekends. I can do that. My work is 2 miles away. The only thing for me to help the company is to actually take it to the work. So it's that straightforward. Another technology that we tested, and it works based on the Bluetooth, extracting something from your phone. And what do we extract? Something that the phone counts. What the phone counts is steps that we make every day. And what about using the step count as a currency and engage citizens of the city to tell the story that they want about how to improve the city? For example, in this case, one step is a one character in a story. And then you arrive to a city square and you start writing your dreams about what should be improved, where could be a good things done in a city. And imagine that moment when you run out of the characters for the story. What you can do? You can continue walking and collect more characters. And that promotes you to do more exercise for yourself, and also you are an example of a walkable city. Another example is the grocery store. Quite straightforward. The grocery stores have all the data at the counter with your purchases. Why don't we just label the products that are more healthy and maybe not that healthy? And then by this color code, we project these reflections. They can be on your cell phone for yourself, but not only that, we can extrapolate that and put the aggregate data on the wall in the grocery store or even outside. So we can ride a bike on the street and we see there's a red grocery store, and there's a green one. And no one tells what to do. It's just that other people have prepared more healthy choices in their shopping carts today in this one. And that's about it. You just see what other people are showing you by their behaviors. That's another example we did at MIT Media Lab. It's about people sitting too long. So if you pay attention to the chair, there is this LED strip that changes the color as you sit. Of course, it's speed up. But the point is that once the LED strip is completely red, it's a signal that the person possibly would benefit standing up and doing some stretching. And some people like question me, oh, but why don't you just vibrate the chair and the person would know that? But that's not the point. The point is that somebody comes to me and sees that my chair is red and says, Agnes, this time is to stand up. And that's the power of this. What do you do when you see this on the street? You don't start to count the people, how many people look up. You don't start to question whether they look trustable to look up. You do this. That's the power of social influence. Why don't we use it? Why we use the carrots and sticks in all the campaigns? There's all limited ways of motivating people. We have all of this motivation. And this is an example from hospital. This is how people receive information about how many steps they made after the surgery, because they have to walk after the surgery. This is a good example. In the red column, it's a step count of that patient, and the blue column is the average steps of all the patients. And this is the good contributor of the data. And why it's important, because for the other patient, where here the steps of the second patient is below the average, now this patient is receiving motivation from the other patients that do better than the patient number 2. Another example from Latvia. People come late to the meetings. And if you look at the chart, and this is done after this previous observation, so the people are late. And the observation was done by Andres. And what we see here, the red bars are the total number of meetings, and the missing colors means the meetings that the person come late. So the person who comes late to the meetings the most has the attitude that no one cares and no one comes. But when we show and we use the data of how on time other people come, we realize that half of the people come on time. And that was a wrong perception, that's a wrong attitude. And I would like to refer back to the very early morning where Anders also said, we are about to make the attitudinal revolution. And I would like to add to that we need to do more attitudinal transformations just like this. Use the data and make our life better through the attitudinal transformations. This formula is very simple. Technology already gives us sensors so we can use to have the perception about many things just by reading what people do. Next thing is what is oftentimes referred as a smart city, which is great, is to understand what the data tells to us. But the third layer is oftentimes neglected. This is exactly where the transformation starts. After we collected the data and we learn what the data tells us, we need to reuse it to feed it back to our people, whatever the context is, to help them to transform, to show the positive examples to us. And this is another video which is from Amsterdam, where you can see how this all three layers come together. Collectively getting the table down. That's a cooperation, one of the social influence principles. So if we come back to the initial question, what transforms well-being? Is it business? Sometimes it is. And some people might think that well-being is something like imaginary thing, and it's like a nowhere. But when you wait enough, you see that the well-being is now here. Based on this, I'm working on the theory of transforming well-being, and if you are interested in more of this stuff, that's the website where you can look at that. And here I will stop my presentation, and after this, we're going to have extended discussion about the same topic with the panelists right here, and it's going to be in Latvian for many reasons, and one of the reasons is that all the panelists will be Latvians. Thank you.